When it comes to the phrase, the worst thing that has ever happened to you in a chess game, what is the first thing that comes to mind? Is it getting pinned? Is it getting your queen and king and rook royal forked together? Is it getting checkmated? Is it getting a stalemate when you were completely winning? While all of these answers are pretty bad and bad things to happen to you, what I'm about to show you is possibly the worst thing that could ever happen to you that happened in my own chess game. So don't repeat my mistakes, coming straight up. So this is the position I want to show you guys. I'm playing the black side against one of the strongest chess players here in Canada. At the time of this video, he is an international master and climbing to become a grandmaster and one of the only grandmasters here in Canada. But at the time I played him, he was only a FIDE master. So this was a classical game in which both opponents had, I think, an hour 30 minutes with like a 15-second or 20-second increment. So it's a long game, and it was a tiring game. It was a game in which I played the Philidor. The beginning of the opening I did very well. In fact, I actually got into a pretty good position out of the opening because my opponent wasn't too familiar with what to do in the Philidor. Hence why I really do recommend this level, even at this tip-top level. So after working through the middle game, after working through the opening, I got to this position over here. And at this point, my morale was already very low. I was thinking to myself, well, my king looks very open, things don't look very good, it's kind of doomed. And so I was thinking to myself, even though I have an extra piece in this position, this knight on b6, it's not a very good knight in this position. I mean, it doesn't really help in the opponent's attack, in my attack against my opponent's king. And it looks like my opponent's pieces are all aiming at my king. And it looked very, very, very doomed. So I want you guys to think, your opponent just takes this pawn on a7. The queen's attacking your knight, and everything seems to be falling apart. They might be threatening this next. If you move the queen, it takes on f7. So many bad things are happening right now, and the move that I played is the worst thing you could ever do in a chess game. And so I want you guys to pause your clock in this at this moment, pause your videos, and answer two questions in this position. Number one, who do you think is better in this position? Do you think it's winning for black? Do you think it's winning for white? Or do you think it's actually equal by computer evaluation? And second of all, whatever your answer is to the first question, my second question to you then is, what is the best move here for black? So think. I'm going to give you guys a couple of seconds. Hopefully you guys paused your videos. And at this moment, I would just want to tell you about why I did the move I did and why you should use my mistake as a stepping stone for you to become a better chess player so you don't ever repeat this mistake in the future. So one thing I like to teach my classes, and in a lot of my lessons and in a lot of my previous videos that you guys have heard about, one of the things that I usually teach is how the purpose of chess isn't really to checkmate your opponent. The purpose in chess is to make your opponent sad. If you're close to checkmate, they're sad, they might resign. If you're up a lot of material, they're going to resign. It doesn't matter how close you are to checkmate, they're going to resign. And so in this position over here, I was worried. I thought to myself, my opponent is a FIDE master, almost international master, got so many norms. This guy probably knows what he's doing. He probably sacrificed his piece in the very last move, which he did by taking on g7. And he probably calculated all this, and he probably knows something's up. And so therefore, I'm probably lost in this position. So I was just doubting myself. I didn't believe in myself. Even though I played my favorite opening in the Philidor, the black lion defense, and I got into a pretty decent position, I always thought to myself, hey, my opponent's better than me. He's one of the best in Canada. There's no way I could be in a better position. And so I made two very big mistakes at that point. Number one, the mistake I made was assuming my opponent, just because he's better than me, has a higher rating, that he actually had better positions and better knowledge in the openings I played. And the second mistake I had was having zero confidence. If I had zero confidence, I would know that the answer to the first question I just gave you guys is black is completely winning. If you were to check the evaluation in this position, it's negative 8.2. And negative 8.2 is a lot. That's basically being up 8 pawns or almost a queen. And so you might be wondering, oh, wow, it's negative 8? How has that been possible? So I want you guys to spend a couple seconds again, pause your videos if you still haven't figured out why it's minus 8. And I want you guys to guess what move I played instead. And so the answer is, the move that I played is I just resigned in this position. And that is the worst thing you could possibly do. Resigning in a 1 position. I don't know many people who've done this before, but I resigned in the -8 position because I thought I was completely lost. And I don't know what was going through my mind at the time, but in this position, I resigned because I thought the threats were too big. But actually, if you really think about it, all these threats are really phantom threats. None of these were really problems. And I thought to myself, I couldn't stop him from capturing here, and I couldn't really stop this from happening. And if I played a move like knight here, then he just plays queen here, and it looks so doomed for me. And so I resigned in this position. So what should I have done instead? Well, there are a couple moves that are very strong, but one, the most simple move that I should have played, and instead of just resigning, was just the very simple rook b8. And the reason why rook b8 is strong, in case you guys didn't know, is, well, it has the very simple idea of saying, hey, my rook is attacking down this file, it's going to help out in my plan to attack the opponent's king, and the thing is, in this position, you can't take my knight, and if you tried this queen e7 move, even though it looks very strong, there's a super duper nice tactic you can go for here that immediately wins the game, using this rook on b8. So pause your videos, think about what you can do, don't unpause until you get the right move. This is what I did not see in my own calculations because I was just way too worried and I thought to myself I was lost. So hopefully you guys paused your videos, and the move that's super nice is just queen b1 check, king a3, and this knight c4 check. And in this position, because all my moves are check, my opponent cannot checkmate me any way that they want to. And no matter what they do in this position, it's lost. If they play king a4, you play queen e2 check. And if they play bishop block, you can check over here. And that is actually checkmate in this position. If they decide to block with their queen, well, first of all, that is a free queen you could just capture. But in reality, you could probably just take here. And that is checkmate as well. And, oops, that is not what I wanted. And instead, and if they decided to take your knight instead, then you see the purpose of this very strong rook on b8. What it does is it allows you to take here, and that is checkmate as well. So I didn't see the most simple move in the position. And the reason why was I overcomplicated things. I thought to myself, my opponent's just good at the game. And my opponent here is very well known for his tactics. As you guys know, Mr. Sean Lei, me, I'm not the best at tactics, I'm garbage at tactics. And so I thought to myself, my opponent's going for this bishop sacrifice. He's onto something that I don't see. But that is a bad assumption, and never do that. So one thing I recommend you guys do, don't look at the rating your opponent is just play against them, just do your best. And that's all you can ever hope for. So this is my best, worst game that I ever played. And tell me in the comment section below if you want to see what happened in the opening, how I got into a pretty good position, and let me build up into this final position where I resigned in a completely won position. If you enjoyed stories like these and games that I played in my own tournament days back in the day, make sure to tell me in the comment section below. I'll be happy to do a whole bunch of these every Sunday and maybe even every Monday as well. And just to show you how I played and how I climbed my way to National Master and the games after that. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next video.